So this is the webinar agenda. I'm going to go through what happened and what is changing. Why does this change matter? Storage in Google My Drive versus Google Shared Drives. What happens if I'm over the limit? And then some of the other solutions that are available for storage based on use case. And then managing data in your email, navigating Gmail, and creating an email archive. And then we'll have Q&A time. So what happened and what is changing? So Google gave every university worldwide near free unlimited Google Cloud storage for a decade. Google has now limited the U of A to 2.6 million gigabytes of cloud storage, no longer offers unlimited storage, and this limit will likely further be reduced. Um, I, I also want to encourage people that the goal is not to get below the 2.6 million gigabytes. We want to make sure that we're just assessing the storage footprint that the U of A currently uses. And that will likely be above that limit. But it's just so that everyone awares this is why the change is happening. We're currently using about 5.9 million gigabytes, and we're growing by about 500,000 to a million gigabytes per year. So our collective goal is to determine the true storage footprint of the U of A. That's why we need to change our mindset about storage to enable more routine, sustainable, and secure data management practices. So what is data lifecycle? Data lifecycle is the process of creating, storing, using, sharing, archiving, and securely deleting data to ensure its effective management and security throughout its existence. So the U of A community has really excelled at the creating, storing, using, and sharing part, but we need to get better at archiving our official and research records and securely deleting our transitory records. What is a CCID lifecycle? When a person with a CCID leaves the institution, depending on the relationship to the institution, the university account access, storage, and features may be reduced, or in many cases, offboarded. This includes your Gmail and your My Drive. So if you were to leave the institution for either foreseen circumstances or unforeseen circumstances, everything in your My Drive and Gmail would no longer be available to anyone. For information about CCID lifecycle and how it impacts you, you can visit the U of A IST webpage called Changes to U of A Accounts. And if you're in the slide deck, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but any link that is orange and underlined is a link to another page that will give you more information about that particular topic. So why does this change matter? Due to the CCID and data lifecycles, when student communications, official records, research records, historical communications, or other records that add lasting value to the institution are stored in Gmail or My Drive, these are high-risk data management practices because they could potentially be lost if you were to leave the institution. And especially if they add lasting value to the institution, they shouldn't be stored in those places that essentially have a shorter lifespan than a Google Shared Drive or some of the other approved university storage options I'll go through. So this is an opportunity to improve our data management practices. We need to consistently and relentlessly archive our important emails, remove non-work related files and transitory records, and move our official and research records to approved centralized storage options, including Google Shared Drives, based on their use cases, sensitivity, or their recency. So Google My Drive versus Google Shared Drives. I just want to be very clear that Google Shared Drives are not impacted by the CCID lifecycle or individual account quotas. So that the individual account quotas only impact your Gmail, your Google My Drive, and your Google Photos. So Google Shared Drives are intended for research, teaching, and administrative work-related files that require external collaboration or active or concurrent editing. And I think I would also add to that specifically for teachers. I've talked to a few professors who want to be able to reference their Google Drive from the classroom instead of accessing like another system in the classroom. So you can do that if you use Google Shared Drives, and all your links stay intact when you move files from My Drive to Shared Drive. So yeah, I just wanted to include that as a reference for people in teaching positions. Files in Gmail and Google My Drive are impacted by the CCID lifecycle, meaning they will be offboarded if you leave the institution, or if you have like a graduate student who's storing all of your lab material in Gmail or Google My Drive and they graduate, their Gmail and MyDrive are now offboarded. So we've seen many instances where graduate students or professors leave the institution, and then all of a sudden their lab no longer has access to that data. So we are reasserting Google My Drive as a space for drafting or work-related personal productivity. Anything else should be moved to a Google Shared Drive or one of the other solutions. And while you're deciding what to keep, move, or delete, please remember that Google Shared Drives are not unlimited, as they still impact the overall limit that Google is giving U of A. So what I mean by that is when you're moving things from your My Drive to Shared Drive, if you know that you've got, I don't know, a bunch of personal photos or um, a bunch of records that are duplicates, it's best to do that cleanup upfront so that you're not moving things to shared drive that will impact the overall storage. It's probably minimal between people, like maybe you've got 10 gigabytes or maybe you've got 100 gigabytes of transfer records that you know you've kept in the last 100 years, not 100 years, 10 years. And you know you could probably delete them. Um, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you add it up across 50,000 people, um, those small little bits of work do impact us for the greater good. So just be aware of that when you're moving things from My Drive to Shared Drive. Obviously, if you're close to the deadline and you need to move things to shared drives, just do that. So moving research records or data that does not require external collaboration or concurrent editing to a Google Shared Drive may be better stored in the new research data storage service. So specific for researchers who may also be teaching, you can use the research data storage service, which is an on-premise service, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then for a visual breakdown of Google My Drive versus Shared Drive versus the Shared with Me, which is another feature in Google that makes it confusing for people, there is a guide available, and I've linked it there. So what am I storing in my Google My Drive? So you can check your total storage usage and breakdown across Google My Drive, Gmail, and Google Photos. You can check it at that link. You can also do it in Google Drive. In the bottom left-hand corner, there's a button that says Storage, and you can click on that, and it will bring you to a similar page. You want to determine your limit based on your appointment under Changes to Individual Accounts on the uab.ca/GWC webpage. This is the total storage limit across Gmail, My Drive, and Google Photos. Again, this does not include shared drives. So the consequences, if you were over quota past the January 31st, 2025 deadline, is that your Google My Drive and Google Photos will become read-only. I want to hammer down that sending and receiving email will still work, even if you're over quota. So the only consequence is that your My Drive, any files in your My Drive won't be able to be read-only, and you won't be able to add more files to My Drive or Google Photos. So based on the difference between what you are currently storing and what your limit is, determine what you need to keep, move, or delete. Or potentially if it's personal and not work-related, then move it off of the University of Alberta storage. Yeah, and it's just impacting Google My Drive, Gmail, and Google Photos. You can review your storage anytime, again, by navigating to the Google My Drive and clicking storage at the bottom of the left-hand menu, and that will give you the storage at the top of the screen with all of your largest files sorted by size. So once you've navigated to Google My Drive and click storage at the bottom of the left-hand menu, on this page, you can sort by file size and filter by type. So here I could do by video and change the date range to before 2020. This will show me all my videos that are in my drive before 2020. You can follow this how-to guide that's linked here for using Google My Drive features to find, move, or delete your worst storage usage culprits. And then you can also follow the how-to guide link there for moving folders from My Drive to Share Drive. Make sure you refer to your faculty or department retention schedule for information about what you need to keep and for how long. Generally, those retention schedules are just about official records or about transitory records. They do not necessarily incorporate research records. Yeah, that is something that if you have questions about research records, then I encourage you to reach out to VPRI about retention for research. These changes may involve deleting official records that no longer need to be kept due to your faculty or department retention schedule. So navigating Google Shared Drives. Google Shared Drives are intended for research, teaching, and administrative work-related files that require external collaboration or active and concurrent editing. You can access and create Google Shared Drives here, so I linked that for you. You can also follow the how-to guide for moving folders from My Drive to Shared Drive. And I just want to highlight that links stay intact when you move files between My Drive and Shared Drive. I know that's been a big concern among our community, that links will be broken, but once you move them from My Drive to Shared Drive within our Google Workspace, the links all stay intact. And any person with a CCID can create a shared drive by clicking this button in the top left-hand corner of the screen. So you can see I put it in bold. There's a new, it's right here. There's a new button in the top left-hand corner. That's how you create a shared drive. So if a creator of a Google shared drive is curious about how much storage their shared drive is consuming, the creator must open the shared drive in question, click the details button in the top right-hand corner, and then you can see the storage used by that shared drive in the middle of the details information pane. While Google Shared Drives are not impacted by the U of A individual account quotas, there is a pre-existing Google imposed maximum number of items in the Google Shared Drive of 500,000 items. That is a lot of items. So there's not very many people I know of that have hit that, and that's per shared drive. So if you had multiple shared drives, then you'd probably avoid that issue. Just be aware of that when you're moving a lot of data into a shared drive. There is a 500,000 item cap that U of A has no control over. That's completely Google. So you can refer to the Google support article there for information about that restriction. So this is one of the overviews that I'm including. I'm not including any information in this slide deck above and beyond what's available here, but you can refer to the slide deck online for more information. There's also a dedicated webpage for the Research Data Storage Service. So this is a new service available now for researchers. It's intended for research data storage. There's up to 50 terabytes of storage per PI or research group available free of charge. Requests over 50 terabytes can be satisfied by a consultation. It is CCID authenticated, and access and sharing on the U of A is on the U of A network on campus or via your VPN. If you're not sure what the VPN is, some people may refer to it as Cisco, and I've again included a link there for you to refer to that. You can add and remove users via a service request, and it is approved for confidential, protected, and restricted data. So you can store human participant data on the Research Data Storage Service, and again, it is on-prem. There's no cloud aspect currently on the RDSS. It does have internal drive redundancy, so it's hardware fault tolerant to prevent loss due to hardware failure. There is technically not like disaster recovery as we would know of it. For example, just to be aware of, if General Services building burnt down tomorrow, then you would lose access to that data. But if something were to fail in the actual hardware itself, it would the experience would be continuous for you. You would not notice a difference. The data would be able to be recovered for you. So we have internal drive redundancy, but similar to if you were storing something on your NAS in your office, which is a network attached server, some professors may have those to store large, vast amounts of data. If your lab were to burn down tomorrow, then you would lose access to your NAS. It's basically the same thing. So if you have asked any questions about RDSS, I have linked the FAQ there as well. And I just want to be clear that RDSS is not meant to be a direct replacement for Google Drive. We just want to reduce our reliance on Google Drive. So mainly RDSS is meant for research files that you may need to refer to in the future. So I've talked to a lot of professors and researchers who have 20 terabytes of data that they're currently storing in Google My Drive, but they don't refer to it very often. That could likely be moved to the Research Data Storage Service. But if you have stuff that you, especially like if you have research materials or teaching materials that you access frequently and you access them when you're teaching, I would encourage you to move those to a shared drive. The third solution is department network file storage. So this is a service available now, and actually it's been available since prior to prior to our move to Google a decade ago. Storage is intended for teaching materials and administrative work. So there's up to 5 TB available per faculty on the STS domain. So it's actually a fairly small footprint. There's 2 types of DNFS drives, shared and personal. It's university credential secured, so access and sharing on the U of A network or via VPN if you're working from home. And audit requests are available to track documents. So this would be an option if you had administrative, say, forms or different administrative materials that don't necessarily need to be accessed as readily as they would be if you stored them in a Google Drive. You might choose to store them here. Yeah. So you can access DNFS by check. So first, I would advise that you check this list. So there's a list available that our team created to show which departments or faculties already have DNFS. There are a few faculties that when we moved to Google decided, oh, we don't need the department network file storage anymore. And unfortunately, we found out we do need it. So if your faculty does not already have access to DNFS, please submit a general IST service request. For individuals to access shared drives in DNFS, their manager must submit a service request on the following slide. So you can see here, this is a link to the DNFS IT service request for your manager. If your faculty has DNFS, then they would need to add you to the shared drive. You can find information about the department network file storage on our webpage. This slide is outdated, and I apologize for that. We recently updated our webpage, and there's no longer like a list of how-to guides and videos because it's really difficult to find things in a list of how-to guides and videos. So we've actually updated it. This link would still be available. It would just be under administrative storage on the webpage. So yeah, apologies for that. This is what it shows up as. Basically, it just looks like a network drive. You can create folders and transfer files as needed, and you can download files from Google to your downloads folder and then upload to your DNFS folders. The fourth solution is called UJA Video Platform. So this is integrated with Canvas and eClass already. It's a service that's available now, and it's intended for teaching videos and audio. There's up to 150 GB available per instructor. So it includes instructional video and podcast storage, and I've even heard some people storing large PDFs. It's for both academic and non-academic instructors, and you can import recordings directly from Zoom as well. So there are currently 3,400 instructors out of 6,000 already using UJA at the U of A. It's for instructional video or podcast storage only. For credit courses, create a UJA linkage to automatically create a course channel on the platform. You can access UJA directly at that link. And then there's also a lot of great information available in the eClass support article, linked there as well. And eClass has their own dedicated support team, so you can reach out to eclass@ualberta.ca for additional support. I should say, yeah, UJA, Canvas, and eClass are all supported by the eClass at ualberta.ca team. So moving your video files, we would recommend individually downloading instructional video or audio files from your Google My Drive rather than using Google Takeout. Google Takeout is basically the tool that Google released to download a copy of any videos or files that are in your Google My Drive. Video or audio files are generally large in size, and bulk copies may take longer. I recognize this might not be tenable for professors that have 50 to 100 videos, but if you've got a few videos that you reference, it may be easier for you to download them individually. If you want to organize your video or audio files in UJA, it might be easier if it's done individually. And if a video file is larger than 50 gigabytes, be aware that Google Takeout will split the video into multiple zip files. So if you have a video file that's that large, then you would need to individually download it. And this is how you individually download a video file. So right click on the video, click download. Then you can upload the file to Yuja. Make sure you delete the file from your Google My Drive and your downloads folder after, and then empty the trash once you have confirmed the upload to Yuja was successful. Please be aware that trash still impacts your storage. So if you go and delete a bunch of emails or files and they're still in your trash, then it will look like your metrics haven't changed. You need to empty your trash or bin to have that reflected properly. So number 5 is the electronic document records management system, otherwise known as EDRMS, or you may have heard the word alfresco. This is mainly more for administrative people, but I wanted to include it just so you know that it's out there. It is ideal for departments or faculties needing structured document management and compliance, and there is a ton of value adds in EDRMS. It does make it a little bit cumbersome to use, but in terms of tracking metadata, it is excellent. So storage is intended for official records, including student records. It's a comprehensive electronic document and records management system. It has version control, metadata tagging, workflow automation, and is really excellent if you have compliance regulation that you need to adhere to. So this is more for your awareness. If you have a department or you do store student records currently in Google Drive, EDRMS may be a better option for you. Managing data in your email. So this has been a major concern, and I've had a lot of conversations with professors, researchers, and administration about how to manage your data in your email. Many members of the U of A community have used Gmail as a file storage system because storage was previously unlimited. Most of us have not had to answer these questions. Should I store historical communications in my Gmail or transfer records, official records? Should I be keeping records of student communications in my Gmail? And as file sizes increase, are my email storage practices sustainable? So there is no legislation or U of A policy that states you need to keep or store emails that are official records or historical communications in your Gmail inbox. Any kind of official records that are emails should be stored in an approved university storage location. It is a risk to store official records and historical communications in your Gmail because access to those records will be lost if you leave the institution. I just encourage you to think about if you left due to unforeseen circumstances. Ask your faculty or department head for your faculty department's records retention schedules. You can also refer to the URO. So the URO is the University Records Office. It's part of the Information and Privacy Office, and they have some really great guidance on how to identify and manage your transitory records, what the difference is between transitory and official records. I referenced slide 6 in that specific slide deck from the URO, which shows like exact examples of what a transitory record is versus an official record. You can also review guidelines for managing emails from the Office of the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Alberta. And this is one of the slides that basically shows you exactly what the difference is between an official record and a transitory record. Please be aware this doesn't impact research records. I don't believe from the university's perspective that official records include research records, but just so that everyone's aware from an official record or transitory record standpoint, this is how they're defined by the University Records Office. So university employees are expected to routinely destroy transitory records, whether you're academic or non-academic. Retention schedules dictate when official records can be destroyed. So when you're navigating Gmail, this will provide some key tips for how to search emails, filter emails, find emails using more storage, organize emails using labels, and then leverage labels to export copies of specific emails and their attachments. And you can also follow this how-to guide for reducing Gmail storage, which is a comprehensive guide that was built by our productivity apps lead. So key tips for searching email. You want to start with messages with attachments. We've heard of a lot of stories of people trying to delete, tens of thousands of emails only to find out that it only deletes, 3 gigabytes of storage, which makes sense if you're deleting text-only emails. Even if you're deleting a lot of them, it will not take very much of a chunk out of your out of your email storage usage. So start with your message with attachments. In the search bar, you can type in has attachment larger than 10 megabytes, and it will try and find attachments larger than 10 megabytes, or find emails larger than 10 megabytes with attachments. You can also search Gmail for older emails, so before a certain date, to find email messages older than the year 2019. And then you can search Gmails for specific senders, if it's from specific, newsletters or email messages received from specific people that you know are transitory. Then you can use that as well. You can also use the advanced filter feature in Gmail by hovering your mouse to the right-hand side of the search bar in Gmail. When you click on that button, it opens up this dialog box, and you can select the size of the email, the date, who it's from, who's it going to, what words it has, what words it doesn't have, emails with attachments or not with attachments, and then clicking search. And that basically fills the search bar for you. And I just show here how you can edit that. So initially here I searched for emails that have attachments larger than 1 megabyte and between January 1st, 2019 and January 2nd, 2021. That only produced a few hundred emails for me. So I adjusted it to 2010 to 2020, the end of 2021. And that gave me a larger sample of emails that I could label to prepare for my Google Takeout export. So once I've got that larger selection of emails, this is where I can begin the process to create a label, which will be useful for me both for archiving purposes, but also for deletion if I'm looking for transitory records specifically, if I'm looking for official records or for certain spans of emails that I want to make sure I have for later. This process is really important, so stay tuned. When you have that selection of emails, you're going to check off the radio button in the top left-hand corner. That's going to select all the emails on the page that are a part of that search. So you can see at the top of that screen, it says all 100 conversations on this page are selected. Right beside it is a blue text that says select all conversations that match this search. So when you click that, it will select all of the conversations that match that search, not just the ones that are on this page. So when you're doing either bulk archiving and creating labels or bulk deleting, it's really important to know that that feature exists because you can select all conversations that match a given search. So then this is how you assign labels in Gmail. Please be aware that a label is not a folder. I know a lot of us think from a very Windows perspective when it comes to file management, but a label in Gmail is not a folder. If you go ahead and delete a label, it does not delete any emails. It only deletes that label because the label is like a tag. It does not operate like a folder. There's nothing inside the label. Actually, everything is in your inbox, and then there's labels that help sort or help you find things easier, but they're not an actual folder. When you have that selection of emails, you can right-click on the emails in the blue selected area, and then click Label As, and then Create New, and that's how you create a new label. I named this specific label my 2010 to 2021 email attachments over 1 megabyte, and I nested the label under archive labels, mainly for my own reference, but that is completely optional. And then I click Create. So I'll get to the next instructions, but I just wanted to highlight that quick tips when you're deleting transitory emails. Make sure that you're connected with an Ethernet rather than over Wi-Fi. It's likely going to make the process smoother for you. Please search, move, or delete emails with large attachments first, using the process that's the linked slide. If Gmail crashes or produces an error, refresh the page and try again. That will likely happen a few times, especially if you're deleting 50,000 emails. You can review the categories label in Gmail, including promotions, social updates, and forums. Please review before deletion. Caution. Review before deletion is recommended. Emails under categories in your inbox that Google has auto-labeled for you may not always be accurate. So the promotions, social and updates and forums, basically Google over time has collected like LinkedIn updates and put it in social, or different digests and put it in updates. So when some people look at that, it's there's no important emails, but some people I've seen look at that categories label and there are important emails, so they can't just bulk delete. Um, Make sure after you delete emails that you empty your trash, because trash still contributes to your storage. And after emptying your trash, it may take up to 1 week for your Google storage metrics to update. This is completely normal. This is because our domain is so large. So I had a coworker that deleted 50,000 emails, and her storage metrics didn't update until the next day. So just be aware of that. So creating an email archive. Once you've got that label, this is the next step into creating an email archive. After you have deleted your transitory and non-critical emails and you are still challenged by storage, consider creating an email archive. You can easily copy select labeled emails from Gmail, including attachments. This copies all your emails into Mbox files, and Mbox files can be imported into searched and read in Mozilla Thunderbird. You can save the Mbox file to approved university storage to comply with cybersecurity policy, and detailed documentation for creating an email archive is available at that link as well and on the website. Please be aware that we don't have a vendor contract with Mozilla Thunderbird. It's an open source email client. It's not intended to be used as an email client. We are simply using it as an email reader in this situation. So IST and Service Desk can provide assistance in following directions provided in the documentation. But beyond that, there is no vendor we can turn to if there are issues with Mozilla Thunderbird. So just be aware of that. So how to make a copy of your labeled emails. Google Takeout is a built-in Google data exporting tool that creates a copy of data from your Drive and Gmail and allows you to download it. You can go to Google Takeout, which I've linked there. Deselect all the options. So you'll see a huge list. You can see there's 55 in that screenshot there. There's 55 applications that you could download data from. Because this is Google's tool, you would have to deselect all of the options and just select mail if you want to just export from Gmail. Important for exporting Gmails by label. Make sure you click all mail data included. So there's a setting that I've boxed there called all mail data included. You want to uncheck include all messages in mail, and then uncheck every label that is selected. To do this, you can click select all and then click deselect all, and it will unselect all of your labels, and then just check off the labels that you want to archive. So specifically here, I have my parent label of archive labels, and then I'm selecting 2010 to 2021 emails with attachments, which is the label that I made in the previous steps. The reason you want to uncheck include all messages in mail is because otherwise you'll just get a giant folder with a bunch of mail, and it won't be organized by label. If you follow these steps, then it will maintain your file structure or your email structure. This is the exact same steps you should include when you're doing Google Takeout for My Drive. If you are trying to create an archive of your My Drive for your own reference, or to move it to the Research Data Storage Service or Department Network File Storage, this is how you maintain folder structure. It's in all mail data included or all drive data included. So just be aware of that. So then you're going to scroll down and click next step, and there'll be a drop down that allows you to say you want to download via email. And then it's optional, but you can change the file size to 50 gigabytes. Any email larger than 2 gigabytes will split into multiple files. And then you're going to click create export. Depending on the size, this process can take a few minutes to a few days to create the export. But it's best to try this process well in advance of the January 31st deadline. Creating an export for Gmail is limited to 3 attempts per day and up to 7 total per week. And you will receive an email like this once Google has prepared the archive download for you. So you can click download your files in that email. You'll be required to authenticate via Duo, multi-factor authentication. I know we have to do this a lot, but the reason that they ask you to do it is because you're downloading um, private emails. So um, I apologize in advance that you have to use Duo again, but that is required to keep you secure. So Google Takeout for Mail, this is what the screen will look like once you click download your files. It's available for 7 days. Click download to download a zip file that will include an Mbox file with all of your messages and attachments included in that label. In the downloads folder on your computer, right click the zip folder and then click extract to make the files accessible to your Thunderbird. And I'll go through the steps for that in a second. You can import Mbox files into an app like Thunderbird that can be used as an email reader. So similar to how we use Adobe Reader to read our PDF files, you're going to use Mozilla Thunderbird to read historical emails that you're archiving. So this is how you set up Thunderbird. You can install Thunderbird from the Microsoft Store in Windows or Kanji for Apple, or if you have your own personal computer, you can just download Thunderbird from the Mozilla website. Do not set up Thunderbird with your U of A account. You can type in the following mock information. So you type in view only in full name, and then in the email address section, you will type in view at only. It's not a real email address, and that's intentional. And the password you will just leave blank, and then you'll click configure manually, and then advanced config, and then basically click OK to finish the account creation process. If you're asked to enter a password, click cancel. The password may, the Mozilla Thunderbird may ask you to update your password every 10 minutes. Just uncheck, you can go to account settings and uncheck the check for new messages option, and that will stop that prompt from coming up. And if you're asked to confirm security exception, click cancel as well. So now Thunderbird should be set up to just read your emails or search your emails. You can open Thunderbird, click the settings gear in the bottom left, and click add-ons and themes. You're going to search for a tool called Import Export Tools NG, and then click Add to Thunderbird beside that tool. So once that's added, it takes a couple seconds. You're going to open Thunderbird and navigate to your inbox. Right-click on Inbox, scroll down to Import Export Tools NG, go to Import Mbox Files, and then click on Individual Mbox Files. And then you can find your file that you downloaded from Google Takeout. It's likely in your Downloads folder. You will need to unzip the zip folder. Google Takeout creates a zip folder, which you'll need to extract. So I just provide a little information there for how to do that. And then all of the emails and all of your attachments from your email label will import into Thunderbird. So you can see here that I imported, I think, 5,400 emails into Mozilla Thunderbird, which I could easily search and read as needed, and I could also still access the attachments. There is no way to strip attachments separate from emails, so just be aware of that. That would completely destroy the integrity of the email, so that's not recommended from a leading data management best practice. But just be aware that this tool does allow you to access both your email text and your attachments. You can also talk to the head of your department or faculty for your retention schedule to determine emails that need to be kept or deleted. You can also then go back once you've created this archive and delete emails older than X number of years in Gmail when you've completed the Mbox import into Thunderbird. So in this case, I would go back and delete emails from 2010 to 2021 with attachments. And because they have attachments, I'd likely save more space than if I was just deleting emails at random. You can move the Mbox file in your downloads folder to a university approved storage like the Research Data Storage Service or Department Network File Storage or even a Google Shared Drive. Do not keep it in your downloads folder. That's an unsecure place to store it. And it's also recommended by CISO to uninstall Thunderbird when you are finished reading your archived emails. Thunderbird will automatically try to back up your emails to your desktop or to your Mac. So that's why CISO recommends that you remove Mozilla Thunderbird after you've read your emails, so that it removes that that backup of your emails from the desktop. So based on feedback from VPRI and change agents in the university community, the website has recently been updated as of Monday to improve your user experience. So all resources and the question form are available through the Google Workspace's webpage. It's called uab.ca/GWC, and there's also a QR code there for you. This is just what the top of the page looks like. So you can see the webinar slide deck is already there. There's a video presentation of the slide deck. You can check your Google storage usage there. You can register for another webinar there or share that with your coworkers. And then there's also steps for reducing your storage usage and storage guidance for your data. So I highly encourage you, if you need more resources or you didn't feel like there was enough resources in this slide deck, then you can go to that website and check it out. And for additional Google Workspace training, please visit the Technology Training Center.